take one of these Burmese pythons off of her eggs. She laid tonight a little bit earlier. I let her get finished up. Usually once they start to lay, I give them 6 to 8 hours to go ahead and make sure they get all the eggs out of them. I don't like to disturb them during the laying period. Some people like to remove them while they're laying them. I don't like to disturb them at all. I leave them alone, leave them quiet, and let them get them all out, and then I go in after them. We got our vermiculite box here, and got it mixed appropriately with vermiculite. You can kind of see there. I like it to kind of clump up a little bit, but I don't want it so moist that there's water running out of it. So I just like it kind of damp a little bit so that it clumps up whenever you squeeze it like that. And usually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just kind of make a little nesting spot there, and we're going to go in after her. This female's not always the nicest one. She's probably going to be a little bit hissy going in after her, but they're really defensive of their eggs, but rarely do they bite whenever you go in after the eggs. So we're just going to start kind of uncoiling her a little bit. She can start hissing a little bit, and then she'll start jumping around. And just kind of work her off real slow. She knows we're here. She knows we want these eggs. She's slowly gonna just kind of work her off of them a little bit here, loosen her coils. Sometimes they start to jump a little bit. They jump, they start knocking the eggs around somewhat. We're just gonna keep working with her, and we'll make sure she knows we're here and we're not gonna hurt her. Most of the time, this female is a little bit on the hissy side, but she's more hot air than anything. Once you get into this point right here where they really start to loosen up, you can kind of get in there and work her loose a little bit. Any loose eggs that start to fall, we go ahead and start to pull them out. These are going to come out in probably one big clump. She's got her tail wrapped around there. They get their tail wrapped around everything, always. Eggs are no exception. See? Just start to work her off slowly but surely. This looks like a good clutch. Some of these eggs will probably start to come apart. Not that I really care if they do or not. I just don't want them to get all knocked around when I'm pulling that big cluster out. Once we get her this loose though, what we don't want to do is let her get wrapped around them again. We'll just slowly work her off. She's going to keep trying to get back on them. Sometimes I'll even pull them all the way out like that right there. Get in here and start to pull out the loose ones. Kind of set them in there like so. Not that worried about which direction was up whenever they were sitting in here, because these little embryos aren't stuck to anything yet. So if I can pull them off, I will, just to make them easier, so I can count them easier, and so I know I can pip them easier. Whenever it's time to do that, we're going to pull her back out. See, it's not that big of a deal, guys. Just got to get in here and get them. So, get to a point where you get the whole group. Bring that group out right there. Bring these last little two right here. Looks like we got one little slug in the bunch. And we get a big clump like this. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and pull them apart a little bit. Not that big of a deal. You can leave them if you want. You can pull them apart. As long as they come apart easily. You know, I've caught these early enough. She laid them this afternoon. And right now it's about midnight. So, just go ahead and pull them apart. It's easy enough to do. No big deal. not really hurting the eggs, not really hurting the embryos. Like I said before, just makes them easier to work with whenever it's time to pip. If you got one that goes bad, it gives you the ability to get in there and pull one out that goes bad, rather than having it mold up and all that business. So, not that mold will hurt the good eggs. I hear people say all the time, oh, you got to get the mold one out before the mold spreads to the good eggs. Not true. Good eggs will fight off mold. Mold is in the air. It doesn't spread from one egg to the next. The mold is always in the air, and good eggs are able to fight off the mold. So regardless of whether you've got a moldy egg, it's not going to spread to the egg next to it. The egg is healthy, and the egg fights off the mold. I usually take a little vermiculite and start to sprinkle it in there like that, just to keep the humidity up and keep it moist in there a little bit. And there we got all those eggs in. One thing we'll do too is we're going to take this female out. She looks like a deflated tire. And I like to let her run over my hand a little bit. It's a good clutch. This female lays almost every year. I just kind of want to run her down my leg here. Make sure we got all of the eggs out. They're always so sadly thin when you pull them off the eggs. This is normally a big fat green female. I don't feel any more eggs in there. I'll come back and get her cleaned up in a little bit. Once they lay their eggs, they're really thin like that. It's okay for them to be that thin because we're removing the eggs. And in the wild, they would actually coil up around those eggs and stay on them for another 60 days. So you think they're thin now whenever you pull them off of eggs? Imagine in the wild whenever they go another 60 days without eating, and how much more weight they've lost trying to maintain that egg temperature, thermoregulating their metabolism still going. Imagine they're remarkably thin whenever they come off. So anyway, that's how we do it. That's how we get the females off of the eggs. No problems, no worries, everything worked great. And we're going to go put these in the incubator. 1, 2, 3. 23 and one that's going to slug out. It's going to be kind of thin on us here, but that's okay. It happens. So anyway, hope that helps. And any questions, always feel free to email me, ask, or anything like that. I'll be happy to help. Okay? Thanks. See you guys later.